Hey, it's Eric with Jazz Wealth Managers, where we don't just like to invest your dough, we like to educate you on your dough. So today, let's talk about rolling over a 401k while you are still working. Now, this isn't always the best case scenario, and sometimes it just doesn't work. You're not able to do it. But what I want to talk about are some of the benefits, some of the drawbacks, and then we can talk about a couple of options of possible ways that you are able to roll those over while you are still working. So let's jump over to the handy dandy board. Let's talk about first some of the benefits. So as far as benefits go to roll over your 401k, well, first you got to think of diversification. The thing about it is that you are stuck sometimes in a plan and all you got is all you got to invest in. Now, some of these companies out there, they actually allow you to open up the world to a brokerage account where you can invest in everything under the sun. But if not, you're limited. Sometimes you just get some target date funds or whatever the employer and the 401k company agree on. So there's that drawback to it. Second thing about it is if you're rolling over your 401k, another one here is the Roth conversion. We definitely like to talk about that. The thing is if you've got a 401k and it's all tax deferred, you don't have the Roth option in the 401k, you can't do Roth conversions. So all this money is stuck. You're limited on what you're able to do and when you're able to do it. So that's another one that comes into play. You don't have any liquidity with that money and the free will to be able to start converting money over to Roth if it's beneficial for you. We've made some videos on that, talking about that in Nest Egg, whether it may or may not be beneficial to convert your money to Roth early. The other one is something that is all going to depend on your plan, but oftentimes we see that we can lower your fees by getting that rolled over. Now, the thing about it is that every 401k is different. Sometimes the employer covers some of these fees that come into play. Sometimes there's an advisor that's attached to it and they're charging a fee on top of the fact that there are all these mutual funds in a 401k and they have their expense fees as well. So this is all something we look at. We actually do that at Jazz. What we do is for our clients, we can link up to their 401k and manage them for them, kicking off the other advisor and hopefully lowering the fee, making sure it's diversified. Can't do much with the Roth conversion, but that's something that we're looking at there. So now when it comes to everything, what I want to talk about are the drawbacks, because if I tell you all the good only, and I don't tell you the drawbacks of rolling over a 401k, then I'm not doing my job. So let's talk about some drawbacks right here. One of the biggest drawbacks to rolling over a 401k early is if you plan to retire before the age of 59 and a half, and you put your money into a regular IRA, you roll it into an IRA. Now your money is stuck in this IRA, and unless you follow the 72T rule, which is a whole nother thing, if you're not doing that, you can't withdraw this money before 59 and a half without a 10% penalty that the government's going to stamp on there. Because oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, a 401k is actually going to allow you to follow a rule called the 55-year rule? Something like that. So basically, it's when you become 55 years old, you can start withdrawing money from your 401k without a penalty. Now, that's only if you separate from employment, but it allows you to do that and avoid that 10% penalty. So that's one of the drawbacks with things. The other drawback is it's a twofold operation here when it comes to this, but it all falls under something that I could really make a really long video to try to explain this whole thing, but it's called the Prorata Rule. So with the Prorata Rule, basically if you have an IRA and you have after tax money in this thing, so let's just say you have $6,000 in there. Well, if you have after tax money in there and you then roll in $100,000 of tax deferred money, well, now you've got $106,000 and you want to start doing Roth conversions. What ends up happening is there is a calculation that comes into play, but now that you've got both of these in here, you're stuck in a sense, and you have to basically convert this entire balance to Roth before you actually get to realize that that's all Roth money. So it's a really weird thing, but you have to be very cautious of this. Anytime we're rolling money into an IRA, we're always asking, hey, do you have any after-tax money? We want to make sure of that. When I say it's twofold, this also comes into the same thing when it comes to a backdoor Roth IRA. So if you're a high income earner and you're putting the $6,000 in and you haven't converted that yet, make sure you convert this money before you ever start to do this. Now, people may say, this is a little bonus for you. They may say, well, guess what? I'll open an IRA. That'll work there. I'll open an IRA and I'm going to put $6,000. That's after tax money over here. Now I'm going to open another IRA and I'm going to put the $100,000 rollover in it. Well, guess what? The government doesn't look at this as two separate things. They look at this combined. So no matter what way, shape, or form you do this, it's all going to count together. So those are the couple of the drawbacks. But let me tell you now exactly how to do this and roll over if you are still working. So one of the things that I had mentioned was, being 55 years old. If you aren't planning to retire at 55, this may make sense for you. It's called an InService Rollover. So again, not all companies allow this to happen. But if they do, you're able to now take your money and start to work on this. Maybe look at those Roth conversions, look at lowering your fees, diversification, all those things. You do what's called an InService Rollover. You can contact your 401k company or your employer HR department. They should be able to help you and find out if that's something that can be done. The other one that I've seen, and sometimes even it may be before 55. So this is something just to ask about. Generally speaking, we always see it at 55. Something else that I have seen done that people are doing is, let's just say that you had an old 401k over here, and now you've got your new 401k. Well, sometimes you've got your money over here, let's just say it's $35,000 in this account, and let's say you had $10,000 in this old 401k. What you end up doing is you say, well, you know what? I'm just going to transfer this in. So you transfer this in, now you have $45,000 in this account. What the companies sometimes will allow, I've seen this done, is they're going to allow you to not take out this $35,000, but they'll allow you to pull out the $10,000 you transferred in, and that can be rolled over to an IRA to be able to work on different things. So it's a couple different options there when it comes to it. It's not something that is a one-size-fits-all. It's all going to depend on your employer plan. Thanks for watching. If you want to watch more FinTips videos, click here. Be sure to like and subscribe also.